And we are live. It's your favorite insurance agent, Darnold Jr. And
Michelle DeSale, the Wealth Tattletale. How are you?
Great. Well, it's another beautiful day, and today we have a very special topic. We're going to talk about how skills are transferable from the military to civilian life. And it just happened to be a very special day because today is Vietnam Veterans Day. So it just happened to coincide with our episode. So
Absolutely.
how cool is
Fantastic.
that?
Very, very cool.
So if you know of any veterans, definitely share this video with them, and let's go ahead and get lit. All right. So today we have a very special guest. His name is Mike Martin, and he's no stranger to the show. So this is his second time on the show. Mike has a wealth of knowledge. Oh, he has an amazing background. He's very educated, and he's actually a veteran himself. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and bring Mike onto the show. Hey, Mike, how's it going?
Hi, everybody. How are you doing?
Great. Fantastic. Thank you for being with us.
No problem.
So
Love to share.
before we get started, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself again? And what is your background? Who are you? What are you up to?
Hi, my name is Mike Martin. I'm a recent transplant from Northern California here to Houston. I followed my son, his wife, and 4 of my 7 grandchildren. I was a United States naval officer in the business arm of the Navy, the Supply Corps, for 4 years. After that, I went into the corporate world for close to 45 years. All the time that I was in the corporate world, I did some side gigs. So I've got a lot of small business uh, information and experiences that would help somebody. And got forcibly retired in about 2013. And then I went more full time in a business that has helped me significantly because I am a Vietnam veteran. I am Agent Orange poisoned, and I don't like taking drugs, the RX pharmaceutical kind of thing. So I'm into alternative medicine, holistic medicine. I found some solutions that have not only helped me but are helping millions of other people, and I can be happy to share anything about that as well as any other conversation. Mike Martin.
Well, we're glad that you're in the sharing business because you are going to be sharing on an amazing topic tonight that can help so many veterans. Transferable skills for veterans, and that's what those are gems that you're going to be delivering. That's going to really be beneficial to so many. So, Mike, if I can ask you, when you were in the military, and when you know was into civilian life, did you find it difficult to transfer your skill set from military to civilian life?
I didn't. The sound is not coming through correctly. It's like an echo. Just to let you know, but there's all kinds of different transferable skills, and I will just share with you that in the military, the enlisted guys are always trying to do better and move up in the ranks. When you move up in the ranks in the military, it's built in that you're learning leadership skills. So that's one very important aspect of things. And some men, as you move up, it could be you become a sergeant in the military. You're going to have a group of maybe 10 men that you're going to be in charge of, and your responsibility to take care of them and do the things that you do, or work through in the work group, whatever that work group might be. Um, there's a number of other skills that people get trained in. I know as a Navy Supply Corps officer, I got some very unique training that helped me to learn how do I manage these different functional areas that are the business pieces of the Navy, uh, to be able to, as a manager, audit those different functions know the paperwork as best you can, and then use the leadership skills to be able to work with the group to make things go. Um, and so it's interesting because I mean, a lot of people have the notion, well, all you do is train somebody how to shoot a rifle or a pistol or whatever it happens to be. And yes, yeah, and those are things that they do, and the physical fitness is a big aspect. I don't care whether you're an enlisted guy or an officer, being physically fit is an extremely important function, especially when you're in a combat zone. Reaction time is a very
So, Mike,
important thing. Yes, ma'am.
so transferring the leadership component, it's a really, really big deal. You mentioned, how going through the ranks and everything, how those, being in leadership positions, it is difficult most times whenever they are released, that they know how to go and get those certificates and those certifications transferred into civilian life so that they can apply for jobs here. Can you talk about some of those things that are available so that they know where do you go to, you know, convert that knowledge
Uh,
into civilian jobs?
yeah, I'm not hearing your question at all. I'm sorry. It's something about how can you go out and get resources or certificates. Well, it's like anything else. People have to sign up and take those kinds of
No,
classes,
no, no.
probably at the junior college level, at the college level. One of the things that's not very well known, but for people that are in the military, especially for any extended period of time, they get offered in the military will pay for their way to go through a number of different kinds of colleges, 4 year and 2 year.
Hmm.
Now, understand that many
Right.
people get trained on how to be a jet mechanic, how to be the. I would venture a guess that all the air traffic controllers that are working today were in the military prior to being an air traffic controller for the government today. There's diesel mechanics, all kinds of other things that that means you don't have to go to the tech school to get that kind of a skill. Okay, there's the Navy has a whole group of men called Seabees, which are people in the construction trade. So they teach them how to drive bulldozers, how to backhoes, all of that kind of stuff. So inherently, there's things that have skills that are easily transferable. A lot of the guys just forget that. Well, I was shooting my gun. No, well, let's think about what other things did you get trained on that you could do. On the officer side, they take guys and send them because they're showing the leadership skills, as they're commanding their first smaller units, that they'll part of the reward becomes, well, we're going to send you to grad school over here and do this, or over here, or way over here, and it's a unique thing that you get. They get those kinds of skills because it can be in the area of expertise. It may be just something that's different that they want to do. So it's kind of interesting that if they seek out through their normally I think they're called education offices on wherever they're stationed, um, they can do a number of things, including online. Think about all those thousands of sailors we have on board ships, right? And some of the guys that are overseas in the sandbox. They, I mean, we didn't when I was in the military. What was a cell phone? Didn't exist. That was a Dick Tracy gadget. There were no laptops. There was no Wi-Fi. Okay, all of those things now. The world is even smaller than it used to be. And if
Absolutely.
somebody is willing to take advantage of resources that are available, they can punch tickets real early on to do a number of different things. When they achieve those educational goals, it helps them to advance within the military as well.
So
Hope,
obviously they could use their GI Bill for going and get an education outside of the
GI Bill is
military,
something
but are there other,
totally. That's after they're out. That's after that. I'm
right?
talking about what you can do before. After they're out, yeah. And on every campus, there's usually a veterans resource uh, facility or a veterans club. And I encourage anybody that's listening that knows somebody, tell them to go to the veterans resource office on the campus. If there is not
Mm,
one at the campus, then go to a nearby campus or go to the nearest VA facility and say, who can I talk to? Uh, you
mm,
also have all the veteran service organizations. What do I mean by that? American Legion, Veterans of Foreign War, Disabled American Veterans, Paralyzed Veterans of America. I could go on and on and on. And let me tell you, guys, that Houston is a hotbed of nonprofit organizations that are doing everything in their power to help the veterans transition in numerous different kinds of ways. This last
mm,
weekend, I visited um, a writing stable. They were having a fundraiser. Why?
hmm,
Because they're starting a program for writing to help with the dealing with PTSD, dealing with those the few of them that have TBIs, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There's all kinds of groups out there like that. I think a couple of the big names. There's Camp Hope, which is a name that's if you can look that one up. There's another one that's run by a female veteran, Camp Shield. So there's all
hmm.
different kinds of resources that are out there. Um, the one I'm going to give a big, huge plug to right now is the Houston Veterans Chamber of Commerce. I am
Hmm.
a member of that,
Now
and
that's
and what
phenomenal. That is phenomenal.
what our mission as a veterans chamber is to educate people, the general population, the general public, that there is a huge number of veteran owned businesses. And why not
Mhm.
do business with a veteran owned business if you need to get your air conditioner cleaned for tuned up, if you need to get your yard sprayed because you got mosquitoes, uh, you know, you need a CPA, you need an attorney, we got everything. So I mean that's one arena that we're into. The other,
Mike,
and this, yes, ma'am.
you mentioned about the female veteran, and I'm glad that you said that because a lot of times I heard a young lady uh, on the television the other day with the Wounded Warriors, and she was
Hmm.
a female, and she mentioned how female veterans are sometimes overlooked when it comes to the different avenues and the different services and things of that nature. And can you shed some light briefly on the services that are available to women, or either are all of the services across the board available for any veteran across the
I
board?
would tell
Because
you
women
right now that
sometimes overlook
all
it.
this, I would tell you that all the services are available across the board for females.
Okay.
Just like any civilian situation, is one area of the country or city better than the other? I will admit to you that that's true, and that's the same thing about the VA. But that's the same thing
Okay.
about Memorial Hermann or St. Joseph's or whatever. It doesn't matter where it is. I mean, I just came from the West Coast. I mean, uh, I got my services, thank God, through the VA there, VA Palo Alto, California, which was associated with the Stanford Medical School. Michael DeBakey here is associated with Baylor. And most general VA hospitals, easy now, easy. uh, yeah, my team lost to Houston, so I'm not a happy camper. Uh, but you know, I will tell you that services for females are getting an extreme amount of visibility. Uh, it is becoming more and more apparent that there are situations where female veterans have been taken advantage of, and command structures are being worked over very diligently to start fixing that problem. Um, I worked and counseled a young lady back in California and now she's relocated. And I talked to the mom just a few days ago, and she's relocated to the Miami, Florida area, and she is thankful to God that she learned everything she learned in California, because now she plugged
Mhm.
into a system in the Miami area that she feels just happier than a camper, because she was able to plug into some things that are working very well. So all I can say is, they people need to reach out to the existing bigger groups like the Veterans Chamber, the Rotary Club. Where's it? You're both familiar with Rotary, right? Well, guess what? In Houston, we
Yes,
have one
yes,
of
Absolutely.
yes,
we have one of the only veterans Rotary clubs in the world.
Wow.
In the
That's
world.
news.
yes.
Wow.
We should
Okay.
visit that chamber.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Just to say
So with
thank
the
you.
chamber now, you get
Absolutely.
yeah, whoever is a part of a nonprofit, the nonprofits, I believe it doesn't cost anything to be a member, and they have meetings where you can participate and give back to the community, and they do a lot of meetings on Zoom, just like you guys are doing Zoom
I'm
here.
gonna have to,
So
I'm gonna have to share that information with my son. I'm sure that he would be very interested in joining a veteran chamber. That would be
Absolutely.
interesting.
yeah, no, but is he
One of the
doing a
transferable,
is he doing a business right now?
yes, he is. He
Good.
is his own. He's
Have
a
him
home
have him get
inspector.
a hold of me personally. I'll help him with that.
Okay,
All
I
right.
certainly will. Thank you so very much, Mike.
Yeah,
Thank you.
we
But
have
talk
an
about the
we have an organization inside the Veterans Chamber, right? So in the
okay,
military, they have a term called Pathfinder. So
Pathfinder.
Hmm.
Okay.
Pathfinder, okay, it's more of an army term than anything, but
Okay.
I mean, just think what that word connotates. So these
Mm-hmm.
Pathfinders are some of the leaders within the group that are sharing with newer members things that they can do to help maximize their own stuff. We have members of our chamber that are uh, they own leadership companies, they own motivation companies, they own a little bit of everything. So some classes are free,
Wow.
other classes cost money. So because if you want to if you want to learn and grow in personal development, you got to be willing to
Invest
invest
in
in
yourself.
yourself, and it's more than just
Absolutely.
time. It's more than just time.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Darnold, it doesn't cost you much to get a haircut. So let's say your haircut's $20 or $30. Would you be willing to trade that $30 and get a nice CD that's going to train you on some leadership skills? We got that kind of
Absolutely.
stuff. We got that kind of stuff. See, it's a matter of
Wow.
how do you position somebody's brain to think differently? They're willing to pay that 30 to get their haircut to look good. Well, how about looking good inside your brain? So there's a lot
Hmm.
of
I like that.
Great point.
I like that.
so
Great point.
and that's the stuff that having been around, and you are very nice. I have a lot of gray hair, so that means something. That I've been to war many times, not just the one that I went to. Uh, but having spent the years that I spent in the corporate structure and going up that chain, and then having my own business, which you have to have a lot of skills to own your own business, a lot of skills, and some of
Absolutely.
that is just general. Can you read, write, and can you do arithmetic? Because that's really what it's all about.
Oh,
Wow.
yeah.
It's
I heard
simple.
this phrase that everything you need to learn, you learned in elementary school.
Okay.
It's very
I
true.
I was researching, Mike. I was preparing for this interview, and I was researching, and I ran across 10 transferable skills for veterans, and I thought it was
Hmm.
very, very powerful. And you mentioned the top one was leadership
Yep.
when you began, and so one of the things that really stood out to me, of course, was leadership and financial responsibility, and the other was self-sufficiency. And that was one of the things that was really powerful and stood out to me. Can you shed some light on that particular skill set, please?
Well, yeah, I mean, self-sufficiency, the one thing that when we go through the training, when you're uh, a newbie as an enlisted person or even a newbie as an officer, in some cases you have to learn to take the orders of whoever's, your trainer. Okay?
Mhm.
That's how you're going to learn. It then becomes, in marketing terms, it's a spaced repetition. You keep doing things until it becomes subconscious reaction to things. Okay,
Mhm.
because if
Absolutely.
the sergeant yells at you, throw a grenade over there. You're not saying, oh, well, where? Well, you don't do that. You pull the grenade out of your belt and you throw it. If the sergeant says, shoot at that tree, you're going to be shooting at that tree. It's life or death situations, and it's the same thing whether maybe you're on board a ship and you're down in the engine room and it's a diesel engine and you're supposed to turn certain handles certain intervals and stuff. If you don't do it in the right sequence, that engine could blow up. Same thing,
Oh no.
like let's say they're on an aircraft carrier and they're one of the ammo handlers. And if they don't follow the procedure exactly correctly, they could put a bomb rack on and they don't clip it on right and it falls off. So it's a
Oh
matter,
no.
it becomes discipline, memory. You got to have the memory to
Mhm.
remember the steps, and that's
Yeah.
that's part of the testing. Now, remember, a lot of these people get a certain military MOS, military official or military standard classification. I think there's something like that.
Mhm.
Anyway, so a job title. They go to schools before they even can go start doing that job. And those schools could be anywhere from 4 weeks to several months. And these are all
Mhm.
different kinds of things from uh, running a radar unit, running a scope, flying a drone, flying a drone.
It's
We
huge right
got,
now.
Mhm.
it's huge right now. I mean, transferable skills, there's huge out there. Drone pilots right now are officers. Now, when
Hmm.
I'm a public, Don knows this, Michelle, I don't think you know this, but I've been speaking at the high school level for the past 25 years doing living history lessons.
Mhm.
Quite
Okay.
often,
Mhm.
some kid will say, well, I'm thinking about joining the Marine Corps. And both myself and the Army guy that's with me, we both respond and we say, that's great. But I tell you what, go finish college first and become an officer. That's our response.
Mm,
Absolutely.
That's our
for sure.
response. And Bill, who is an enlisted guy, who rose to the rank of sergeant in 6 months, which is a very accelerated time frame. He
Mhm.
even says that when we wrap up, remember what Mike said: go get your college degree and become an officer, because it does make a
Yep.
difference. And I am always kidding Bill because when he's poking at me, I always go, "Hey, Bill, rank has its privileges." So I
That's right.
spent my time. I spent my time in another time and space, but rank does have its privileges. And the reason why he kids on me in Vietnam was it all really bad, bad, bad? Well, I'll tell you, all the movies are pretty much all garbage. But 8 out of 10 people in Vietnam, 8 out of 10 people in Vietnam were supporting the guys that were what we called outside the wire, fighting the enemy up close and personal.
Mm, wow.
So those of us that were in the rear area, did we have it as bad as the guys that were out in the bush? No. Okay. In fact, he always kids me because I used to say, yeah, Bill, I was the officer in charge because I was a supply officer. I was in charge of getting the steak and lobster for our Sunday afternoon barbecues.
Oh wow. Hey,
Rank
everybody
has
loved you, right?
rank has its
Everybody loved.
privileges. That's right. That's
Yes,
right.
it does.
So
But
I
it's
mean,
it
there's
goes
other.
along
I'm
with,
sure Michelle, you could do the laundry list. There's some things that get very technical that are transferable
yeah.
skills. Okay, and some of
Hmm.
those people that are good in science and math, a lot of that stuff is transferable. The science and math
Right.
guys,
Right.
the computer guys. We have tons of different computer things. Practically everything is computerized now. We didn't have that when I was in. We didn't have that. In fact, when I went to the Navy school, you know how they trained me on computers? I was punching IBM
Uh,
How's
cards. That's what I did. I typed and punched in
yeah.
IBM.
Mhm.
That's how
wow.
long
And
I go.
this subject matter, it goes along with what our, our mission is, financial literacy. And you're mentioning about making certain that they get their education first and then become an officer. This is great information because the more education that you have, the rank, the better you are to set yourself up, for a strong and solid financial future. So this
Absolutely.
information is so valuable, and we
Absolutely.
really
And for me
appreciate it.
now, I'll tell you, I was able to even leverage that more because I was an enlisted reserve, like National Guard
Mm.
or one of those kind of things where they go into meetings, once a month kind of deal. All that
Right.
time counts on the pay side.
Oh, nice.
Mm.
Okay. So when I became an officer, I was an O1 to entry level officer rank, but I was pulling pay for over 8 already.
Nice.
Wow.
That worked out well
So
for you.
Yes, it
it worked
did.
out really well for me. So there's all kind of, if you learn, if you can find mentors, and let me tell you, the one thing I would highly recommend through Michelle, through whatever program you can put out the word, have
Okay.
people get a hold of me. I have a ton of resources for people that like to be mentors.
Oh,
Okay,
that's
and we
perfect.
love to talk to kids. We mentor a lot of the kids that men and women that are coming back, and I know of a number of those community based organizations that are servicing the veterans community, and all they want to do is help those transitioning veterans. That's what they
Very
want to do.
cool.
You
Well,
know,
that's a
so
perfect segue. How can people get a hold of you in case they want more information? And while he's doing that, if you have any questions, feel free to type in the chat for him. But how can people get a hold of you, Mike?
my best phone number to reach me is my old California number. That's area code 925-323-1093. And you're going to love this. My best email to get a hold of me, ask Mike healthy living at gmail.com. Ask
Well,
Mike healthy living at gmail.com. And I'm working with numbers of people. And Michelle, if you're associated with schools that you can get me introductions so I can go do my history talks, I would love to have those kinds of introductions. I've only we became in the West Coast. We were the curriculum for a number of different high schools. I mean, every year, if I forgot to call them to schedule, they were calling me.
Yeah,
That that's the kind of power that I think my co-speaker or I even bring to the interaction with the kids because we're giving them a perspective that is not in the textbook.
absolutely.
yeah,
If there is anything left in a textbook, and I'm sorry to say it that way, but
Right.
I've seen what's happened over the last 20 something years.
it's one of the things to read about it. It's another thing to actually interact with the person that's gone through it.
Yeah,
So we appreciate everything you do. Thank you for serving our country, and thank you
absolutely.
for being on the show. You provide a lot of valuable information, a lot of valuable resources for the veterans out there, and hopefully we'll have you back on the show in the future.
Thank you so much, Mike. We appreciate you.
You're welcome, and you'll make sure I get a link to the this recording.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Okay, awesome. And Michelle, I don't know if you got the number over. He's got my number anyway, but why don't we set up a one-on-one to talk more specifically and targeted?
That'll be fantastic. I look forward to it, Mike.
All right, take care,
All right.
guys. So what do
Have
I
a good
do?
week.
You're gonna take me.
Wow. So Mike was
Yes,
awesome.
he was.
Yeah, he had a lot of valuable resources. So definitely, if you know any veterans, share this with them, especially here in Houston. they're very veteran friendly, which is great. And it
Mhm.
sounds like he's very well connected in the veteran community.
Absolutely. I mean, it's really exciting information for me because I can, my son is a veteran, and I'm thrilled that there is an actual veteran chamber.
Yes.
So can you imagine? I mean, that's amazing. And of course, I mean that camaraderie and that being able to network with gentlemen that can are and women that can relate to, because we can never understand
For sure.
what they go through and the things that they've experienced and things like that. My son is, he grew up in the
Mhm.
military really after
Wow.
right out of high school and everything, and some experiences that of course I'll probably never be able to be privy to be shared with,
For sure.
but these are his brothers and sisters. This will be great. I'm
Absolutely.
excited.
So definitely share this video with him.
I certainly
So
am.
we appreciate you guys for tuning in. The purpose of the show, growing up, I feel like they didn't teach me about how money works, and
Yeah.
so that's my heart, is to be able to teach people. We stay in our lanes. We're both insurance experts, but there's a lot of other people that are really smart in their fields, and so we bring them on the show live and we interview them. And if you have questions, we open it up to you, so you can ask your questions, everything from real estate to cryptocurrencies to how you're improve your credit score.
Yeah.
So this is actually Mike's second time on the show.
Right.
So if you haven't done so already, go ahead and check out his first video. And I appreciate you guys for getting lit.